Hello, so I've had a couple of requests to go over one of the parts just for another modeling method. So I'm going to have a look at this one. This was another one found on the internet. I thought it was a good little part for you to try. So like before, I'm going to come up with a plan. So I'm going to take a screenshot there. And then let's come up with a plan. So I think for my first modeling stage is going to be to model, I'm not going to do that slot, I'm going to model this corner, oops, up to there because I have a dimension going to there, this line, this line, this line, and then I'll see how this looks. I'll probably just model in these in the same sketch and then finish it off with there. So once I got this modeled, once I got this done, that'll be the majority of it. So that's the main body. Then the next stage then that I'm going to do is, let's see, I'm going to do the slot. So I'm going to do that. Next, it's going to be 2. Then number 3 then is going to be this hole here. So this M16 hole. Okay, and then, oops. Let's see. After that then I'll probably do the chamfers, that chamfer there. I'm going to draw the slot with the radiuses in it, so that'll be okay. And I think that's it then. Okay, so the first stage then is this one. So as before, I'm going to rough it out. I'm going to start off with a diameter 40 on this, just so as I get a size for it. So let's go over to Fusion, start a new component, we'll leave it as component 1. I'm activated there on that component. Now I can start sketching. So when I go back to my image, because it's revolved, it doesn't really matter, but I'm going to say that the view that I'm looking at here is a front view. So this slot is on the right hand side and this hole is on the left. Okay, so that's the way I'm going to draw it. So I'm going to go to the front. I'm going to sketch on that plane and I'm going to pop in a center line. So before I was drawing a line and then clicking on the center line, but now I can actually draw, I can click create center line and then draw it off, and you'll see it's making a center line there. Okay, and now I'm still in the line command. I'll just switch that off. So then out here somewhere I have my diameter 40. So let's put that in just so as I have a size for everything. Okay, and then I can carry on drawing. So let's see, I've gone up here, need to step out, step in, and then we're up to the top. So let's just go a wee bit higher, and I'm not worrying about the dimensions just yet. Step out, step in, up to the top, and then I have, oops, this is a little confusing this, but I'm choosing to say that I have 1, 2, 3 steps. Okay, so let's do that. So 1, 2, 3. Then it comes all the way down to the bottom. Okay, so all the way down to the bottom. And I'm just going to make that vertical. Snap to there and then close it off. And there's my profile. Okay. So now I can start dimensioning. So let's see. Excuse me. What height have we got? We've got 85 from the bottom up to this line, which is this line here. So let's make that line 85. Okay, just want to be careful now that I don't start making something 0. So let's put in a 25 and 138 to the top. Okay, so let's make that 25. And then we've got 138 all the way to the top. Now, I don't have my endpoint horizontal to the origin, so let's do that. Horizontal, this point to the endpoint. There we go. We can see this line's gone black partially. So that's good. So now we've got this dimension in. Let's change that one. I think it was 85. Yeah, 85. Okay, and then just need a diameter on this one here. Sorry, I keep going to the PDF. We need a diameter on this one, so that's that diameter 50. So again, down to the center line, right to this one, diameter 50. So we can see we're just gradually fully constraining everything. Let's get a diameter for the top one, that's 45. And you can see when I want to do a diameter, it doesn't matter the order that I select the lines in. So then let's do each one of these. So we've got, oops. So we've got, let's see, 32, 37, and I'll say 40. Because the diameter, it's missing off that. So 32, 37, 40. So 32. Okay, I'm just going to leave it like that for the moment because if I make that 32, it's going to end up in there. So let's do that one first. And we said we'd make that 40. And then, oops, don't want the endpoint, I want the actual line. 32, 37. We can make that 32. So now we just need the inner diameter and then the depth. So let's do the inner diameter, which is 28. So that's that line there. That's 28. And then the steps down, let's go back, have a look. So we've got 2 and 1.5, so that's 3.5 down to there. And we've got 10, and then we've got 3. So I'm not sure what's going on here, we can forget about that. So we'll do 3.5, 10, and 3. So 3.5, 10, and 3. So there we go. That's our profile, our main body of our profile done. Okay, now that sketch isn't too bad. It's not overly complicated. I always tell you to keep your sketches as simple as possible because it makes fault finding later on easier if you keep them nice and simple. And this one is nice and simple, nice and tidy. Just tidying up dimensions there just so as if I go back to look at them, they're not all jumbled up. Okay, and there's my center line, and like before, I like to pull the center line down away from the geometry just so as it doesn't get confused with anything else. So we can finish that sketch now. We've got a center line and we have our profile that we can see in blue there. So now when we hit revolve, it should auto pick everything. Nope. It's picked the profile but not the axis. That's okay. That's our axis of revolution, and there we can see very quickly there's our main part. So now we're looking at the front view, so let's go and do the slot, which is on the right. So if we just rotate this to the right hand view, and then we're going to sketch on this plane, and I'm going to go to create, and some of you may have already spotted this, but under the create tab for sketching there's a slot. I'm going to do center to center, and I'm going to just line it up with the center point, and I'm just going to rough it in for now. and then we can dimension it. So one of the things that I want to do first is just to make sure this is vertical to that, to the origin. So if I click the origin, click the end point of the line, now I can see that's gone black, but the endpoints are still free floating. So let's go back to our drawing, and we can see radius 3.1, so diameter is 6.2, and then it's 14 up and 60 long. Okay, so 6.2 is the full width. Up from the bottom. No, sorry. 14 to the bottom of the slot, so it's 14 to there, and then 60 up to there. Okay, so unfortunately, within Fusion, there's no way that I know of, I don't think, that it dimensions to a quadrant. So usually what you have to do here is just draw a little line, construction line, and you can draw it off the midpoint of that. So draw it off here. Another line staying on construction again over there. So now when I add the dimensions, I should be able to go 14 to there, and then 60 all the way up. So there's my sketch done. So this is the right hand view, so I want this coming out in this direction. So let's do an extrude on that and just pull it out, so as we can see it come through the part. Distance is through all, because we don't want to give it an end distance, we just want it to keep going until it gone through all. Then we can click OK. So that's that done. That done. Now let's do this number 3 here, which is on the left hand side, the opposite side of the slot. And this is 18 up to the center line, and that's M16. Okay. So let us, how are we going to draw this one? So what I think I'm going to do is I'm going to draw a plane. I'm going to construct a plane, sorry. And I'm going to construct a plane, a tangent plane to that surface. Let's see. There we go. So I've constructed a plane tangent to that surface in relation to that surface. That's my reference plane. And I've just rotated it around 180. Okay, so what that allows me to do is it allows me to sketch. So now I can sketch on this plane. So let's see now, let's look at that. Now I can draw my line up to the center point, which is 18. So I just dimension that line, 18. And I don't know whether it needs to be a construction line or not, but I'll just leave it as a solid line. Okay, so now I can see, if I go to construction, which is where those new planes will be, I can see there's my plane, and because I drew it right up the middle, it's sitting on here because the tangency is like an infinite, is like a line between this plane and that surface. So it's sitting right on that surface and on that plane as well at the same time. So now when I go to add a hole, I should be able to select that point. There we go. So it's going to be a threaded hole, and it's ISO, and it's what is it? M16. Size is 14, so we'll make that 16. M16. We're not given anything about the thread. We just have a flat bottom, and the dimension, the down to, we'll just go through until we hit that plane in the middle, just to make sure it goes right the whole way through all. Okay, and because it's coming from this plane, you can see that it's cutting through all the geometry. So I click OK there now, turn off that plane. There we have our hole. Now there's a few other ways to do that. If I had created the datum plane, or the plane, sorry, and then in this sketch I could simply have done a hole. So I could simply have done a circle, made that 16, okay, and then just turn that to construction because I don't need it. Click finish, turn that sketch on, then extrude that up to this plane. Okay, then hide off the plane, hide off the sketch, and then create a thread on that hole. That would have come up as M16. Click OK, and we get the same kind of effect. Alright, so I just really wanted to show you a couple of methods there doing that. Two features here on this one, whereas in the other one we just had to create the plane and the sketch and then the hole, but not you know, they're not big. There's not a lot of features, double the features, but I'll delete the hole and leave it with those ones. So let's go back and have a look. So we've done that one. So now all we got to do is add in the chamfers. So that's 5 by 45. That's 2 by 45. And I think that's it. So let's turn off the origin so as we get rid of those planes. And then let's go to chamfer. This one here is 2 by 45. So a 2 by 2 is the same as 2 by 45. Same geometry. You won't see this change now when I flick back to equidistance. Okay, and then the last one then is the chamfer here, which is 5 by 45. So we can see that actually replaces all of that surface. So all of that surface is gone. And that's okay. Realistically, there will also be a chamfer around there, around that face. You would never have a hole like that without a chamfer on it. But this is kind of, is that the right chamfer? No. Imagine a drill tip coming down and creating a chamfer, and let me see, there is a option for that. I can't remember what it is. So this is not, this is what would be, this is like a tool coming down and going around that edge to create this chamfer, which generally is not the case. It's normally a drill that comes down. So if you imagine it, if it's a drill that comes down, you end up with a different looking chamfer. So just for curiosity, this is what it would look like. So if we create a sketch there, go to the right, and then I pull in that edge, which will give me that end. Okay, and then I draw a line. Okay, so let's see, this is the drill bit that's coming down. Okay, this is a cross section of it. Strange. Let's try that again. Pull that in a little weirdly. Okay. Not sure why it didn't pull that all in one, but anyway, so there's, just need that to give me a center point. And let me put this here onto the midpoint. Okay, just to tidy this up, imagine this is a drill piece. Okay, and it's coming down to create the chamfer. And let's say you want a chamfer here. Then we would have a line coming out from here, and let's say we have we want to do it to a depth of say 2 millimeters there, or even 1 millimeter. Okay, so you can see the kind of geometry that we need for that. Whoops. So let's say that that is 45 degrees. Okay, and this then needs to go out because we've got to cut that geometry away. And I'll just leave that there for now, and then we'll create that little cut just so as you can see what this would look like. Okay, so this is kind of what you'd end up with. You have a bigger chamfer here than you do over there. So if you want this to be slightly bigger, you'd have to increase that depth, which would make this really big. So that's kind of what you'd normally end up with, right? So using the chamfer tool isn't always indicative of what the real part's going to look like. But for now, it's okay. Kind of got lost in the explanation there a little bit. But we'll pop that in, give that a chamfer 1, just for sure. And just to make it look good, let's put a little chamfer in there as well. Make that one, that looks cool. All right, so there we go. That's that part done. Okay, so hopefully that was of use to you. Take care.